Blog Talk Radio.
Hey guys, this is Those Guys. We are doing another Anna Saturday in Halloween in July. Ooh, spooky. I'm Matt Marrero, and who are we here with? Ooh, who else is spooky?
I'm not as spooky, Tristan Walter.
Not well, you sound undead. You sound pretty dead, Tristan.
Thank
Are you sure
you.
Are you sure you're not as spooky?
I try really hard.
You sure you're not spooky, Tristan? Look, we got to talk about what's going on. You and I watched.
I'm not a vampire trader sent here to destroy you.
Yeah, but who isn't?
Well, when you put it that way.
Right? The odds are highly likely that you and other people are not. Anyway, we're talking about Hellsing Ultimate OVAs 9 to 10, which are the final OVAs in the Hellsing Ultimate series. So that means that it is basically but the last few chapters or volumes. Unsure how, what this adapted one-to-one, what the actual volumes were, but it is the end of Hellsing. And this is something that for us is years in the making. This is not one of the first podcasts you and I did, but you and I started this, I think, even before we even were doing Halloween in July 3 years ago. I could swear we did that. We did the first Hellsing series not even around Halloween. I think it was just randomly in January, if I remember correctly, because I was looking at our archives a while ago.
Halloween
it was randomly
in January, because why the fuck not?
Ooh. No, but we were just doing it because it was something that I think you had never seen, and it was one of those, hold on, you've never seen Hellsing? You were like, yeah, no, I haven't, Matt. And I was like, we're going to change that. And then
it's funny because I caught bits and pieces of Ultimate on Toonami, but I'd never seen the original run.
Yeah, so then we saw the original run. We've done a podcast on that, and you and I had done the OVAs, and I think maybe the first three. Oh, it was either the first three or it was 4 to 6. You and I definitely did during Halloween in July. Maybe both, because we've done this Halloween in July. It's our third year in a row. So we did that, and I just feel as if as this show has been getting progressively into new territory that hadn't been adapted in the TV series, maybe, I don't know if it's the content itself or if it's just how it's been adapted, but it feels like they're just really trying hard to get to the next thing. And nothing can really sit, and we can't feel it as much. And I felt like earlier on, maybe because it was, I understood that feeling because it's like, oh, well, you're re-showing stuff that you had already adapted. The similar thing happened with Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, where it was like, you get it, you have to go a little bit faster with the stuff that was already in the previous TV show, because Brotherhood was a remake / legit adaptation compared to where FMA went, which was just away from the manga entirely. But when it comes to this ending, just seeing it this way, it felt like there was a certain oomph that was lacking, but for some reason, the Major had so many more monologuing moments where, initially it was like, oh, it's cool to hear his monologues, cool in the sense that you can't wait to, see how cool it's going to be to get his ass knocked out. But after a while with these two OVAs, especially with the 10th one being over an hour long, it felt like it was more monologue than actual action. Is it just me? I don't know. It felt like more talking from the Major happened than actual anything of substance happening with Alucard against someone. Because it feels as if earlier on in the series, especially that first altercation with Alucard and Anderson, I thought set a pace where we were going to have a very interesting action-packed series, and then but then we start to have a situation where, and I get it, Alucard's super strong, and in his vampiric form he loses his sense of form, his sense of humanity, his actual human form. But in doing that, you then don't have anything to punch necessarily.
Right, yeah.
And it was cool when he essentially summoned all the souls back. But after that, it just becomes like this sea of just red, which I'm not saying it doesn't look cool from an animation standpoint, but there's nothing really going on with it necessarily. I don't know. It just felt as if the deaths were too fast. It was like, all right, we got to go through that. But then there was little to no action, which is just, again, weird from when you think about the series as a whole.
Right.
And what it's done. And the fact that this wasn't going to be a Dragon Ball Z necessarily, but it felt like it was trying to be deeper than what it initially was. I think.
Yeah,
like it was trying to.
Way to look at it, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know. I don't think this was, in my opinion, when I think of Hellsing, I think of, edgy content. I think of like, ooh, how are we, like all this blood, all this gore. But for some reason, it just tried to get into this kind of like, oh, let's have the deeper thoughts. And it was like, but what deeper thoughts? Like it's stuff that the Major has been saying over and over and over again. Like you hear him say this, like it feels as if they don't even have the actor recording certain lines. They're just taking them from previous recordings and just throwing them in.
Oh.
Well, I don't know. It's just like, how many times can I hear him say, even though the actor is brilliant, how many times can I hear him say, like, I love war. War is what humanity was made for. It's like, holy shit, yes, I've heard you fucking say this over a dozen times.
Sorry, my programming keeps skipping. It keeps reading the third to 56th line, and then I can't go any further.
You're right. It kind of does, now that we know he's partial, if not, he's not complete, but he's definitely a partial robot or android of some type. I say partial because he was bleeding out, but when the doctor fixed him, so that means that he's clearly, his brain is still there, though.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure his brain is still human, but the rest of his body is probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So immediately just gets someone calls somebody, Dr. Wheeler's like, that one, I want him, the fat one.
Oh my God.
That's the one. Yep. I want to go in there.
It's funny.
Didn't even know he was a robot.
You went for Dragon Ball. I was going to go for JoJo.
Oh God. But yeah, so Tristan, before I rant, what was your take on the finale? Because your response to me was funny. Before we began the show, your exact words were, "Well, that was weird." So why are those the first words that came to mind? Because I don't disagree with you. So, like, why was that your take?
I mean, personally, like, I get that basically there's no one who can really kill Alucard. So they're like, we're going to come up with the craziest batshit to get him out of the picture.
Mm-hmm.
when he absorbs Schrodinger, and it's funny.
Here's the thing.
The first time I saw that happen, I was like, wait, why did he just blink out of existence? And now, like, another time around, I'm like, all right, I see I get what you just told me. But how in the hell does that make that happen?
Well, cause it's frustrating. Okay, so what's frustrating is this, right? In when the cat was first introduced, Schrodinger's cat, which, by the way, funny name, obviously, detailing kind of premonition, foreshadowing what was going to come later. But when they first showed the character, especially the art style they show him in, I'm pretty sure him in, it's done in a way that makes you think this is just some fun, random gag character. And I think maybe that's kind of why it feels so odd to me personally, where, again, at first it seems like it's like, oh, he's just so silly. And it's like, no, it's actually the most important part of this, not at all convoluted, shut the fuck up plan. And it was like, well, you put the shut the fuck up in there, he just, like, that's the thing. Like, it's this idea that it's like, it's not convoluted. This is perfect. And it's just like,
I've been working on this plan for 50 years. That's brilliant. You just can't understand it.
I don't know. It's just so odd, especially due to the fact that because to me anyway, I mean, yes, it was a fight with Alucard, but it also just seemed like the idea that the Major wanted war. And it's just, I'm not going to like get crazy political here, but I am just going to say that if you want war, there's plenty of places to get it. Still in wars across the world. And I'm not even going to pick a government or a country, because you could probably, if I name one, someone else listening can probably name another.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not going to name one because someone listening probably could name another. But like, it's just a thing where, and again, back on the show itself, it's just really odd that he's just like, oh, I want this only war. Now, again, granted, it's vampire v. vampire. I guess I get it. And the idea of like, oh, I took him down, haha. But I don't know. It just seemed, I guess because, again, he's talking about things in the greater grand scheme of things. It would, I don't know, it just seems weird. Like, you always have it makes sense in certain shows when, like, a bad guy is like, I want to take down this good guy or this thing or whatever, and there's a clear, in my opinion, clear reason, and it's usually pretty close to one another, somewhat. So, like, let's look at someone like Dr. Gero, right? Dr. Gero, Goku destroyed the Red Ribbon Army. So Gero, being one of their evil scientists, was like, oh, fuck all of this. And then takes time to create robots. It took a while, yes, but in canon, the excuse was, oh, he's looking at his power and he's trying to match them up properly and size them up. And to be fair, with someone like Goku, you kind of have to fucking do that. And all of his fucking friends, too. Holy shit. So that was the reason, the quote-unquote in-canon reason why Dr. Gero just didn't show up at his doorstep the next day like, I'm going to fucking destroy this kid. Right? Because you would think that Gero could put himself in a giant robot and be like, fuck all of you. No, he waited.
Well, I mean, Goku had already destroyed other giant robots he'd made at that time, so he probably didn't have one that he was confident being like, I don't know if this one could do the job.
Exactly. So that's the in-canon reason. When looking at, I don't know how long it took for them to like restore the Major and how long it took for, everything else to kind of fall into place. But what we do know in this canon is that Ceres Victoria could have been killed and then everyone seemingly would have been happy because of that one person. I forgot what organization he was. Oh yeah, he was one of the board members. He was like, what's weird, dude? We're the only two left, and I don't know who blabbed and who kind of betrayed us or betrayed all of us, because even going back, when the day that Ceres' uncle was going to fucking kill her and take over, I told the butler.
No, Integra.
Sorry, Integra. Sorry. My God. Integra. I told the butler.
Right.
And it's like, so in other words, they were probably, someone could say, no, they were planning on her opening up Alucard. It's like, but if they didn't and she would have died, that also would have helped their plan. So it just seems way too convoluted. And I know some people might laugh at us. They might be like, isn't that a decent chunk of anime? But I feel like, I don't know, there's the way it's described or the way the canon makes it out to be, even something like Gero doing what he did does not seem as convoluted.
Yeah.
As something like
Alucard's
this.
Alucard's powers are pretty convoluted as it is anyway. So the idea that they had to wait for the opportune moment for him to completely let loose his powers.
But he couldn't be opened up. Like, they could have just shot Integra when she was a kid. Like, Walter could have done it.
Yeah, but then, I feel like it's the situation more. Like, in that point, he doesn't have to go full power to then kill Walter to avenge Integra.
No, but he was locked away. But when she was she was running around, right? It's like, oh, don't worry, we'll let him do it. And she's running around. Walter's watching in the corner like, kill her. Or maybe she'll open up Alucard. Like, it's just kind of but how about you just kill her?
Yeah, I don't, Integra wasn't the end-all, wasn't the target all along. She was part of it, but it was because she was part of Hellsing, and Hellsing had Alucard. They wanted revenge on him.
All I'm saying is,
that's how I took it.
I know, but let me explain. Let's put it into this kind of type of context. The boat could have sprung a leak. The one that Alucard was on to get there,
sprung a leak.
Could have fucking hit an iceberg slightly, just ever so slightly. Not even that big of a tear.
Over fucking London, they could have hit an iceberg.
Hey man, I don't know how global warming works in their world. They got vampires and werewolves, dude. Look, I'm just saying. We don't know there. But I'm just, all jokes aside, right? I'm just saying that, if something legitimately happened to the boat, Alucard can't fly because vampires can't fly over water.
Yeah.
it's just, that's what I mean when I say, like, this plan is convoluted. Like, I understand that you have to have a certain level of disbelief, suspension of disbelief, sorry, to actually watch anything. Because, of course, like, even watching something like Pokemon, someone would be like, would they really evolve that way in their world? It's like, dude, please, come on, Pika Pika. Seriously, just chill the fuck out. This is fun. Like,
dude,
chill the fuck out.
Come on, Pika Pika, just shut the fuck out.
Yeah, just chill. Come on, this is fun. All right?
I'm going to use that from now on.
Thank you. But you get where I'm coming from. Like, there's a certain level of disbelief. Like, obviously if we applied certain physics to, like, Iron Man, like, Tony Stark being drunk would be the least of Mr., what do we call, Iron Concussion's problems. Seriously, like, that's really who he would be. Not even talking about, like, getting punched by Thanos or anything. Just going at that speed and then stopping, apparently he would, like, his brain would just, not a brain, his skull would just.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, collapse. Like, it's bad. At the speeds that he's going at, like, in that, I forgot what they called it, because it's not, I'm thinking of, like, Iron Man's, his technical term for it. The Iron Man suit, whatever.
Yeah, right.
But still, you see where I'm coming from. So, like, we have to have a little bit, but in this series, like, to have all of this work out, it's like, all right, dude, this is way too long. Like, come on. Like, for like the plan.
Yeah, no, I get you. I guess for me it's funny, I had different sides of it bother me more. Like, Walter's betrayal, I get he also wanted to kill Alucard and was like, I can't believe, we are vampire hunters, working alongside with a vampire. I cannot abide by this. I'm like,
Well, here's the thing. I think it would have made more sense if you and I had read Hellsing: The Dawn.
Yeah. Yeah,
because
no, I know he worked alongside him with Alucard for many years beforehand as well.
Yes. Well, the Dawn took place in World War II.
Right.
So that's why Alucard literally said, when we first met, you wanted to fight me. Literally, like, when we first met, i.e., and also I love how many times the script mentioned the word, like, the Dawn, the Dawn, the Dawn. Like, it was just kind of funny. It was like, all right, Jesus,
right.
I'll read the book.
And I mean, it's not that I don't understand a character being like, I don't like this person, but due to my duty, and my, responsibilities, fine, I will work alongside you. And still carry on that grudge throughout a series, like, I'm fine with that. But
50 years.
I don't know, Walter just, I guess it was just his outward persona, but, like, Walter doesn't seem like a person who would get hung up on petty shit like that, Like, some characters, I can see it. I get it. I get why that would, irk them so much that they'd hold on to it for that long. But Walter just seems so...
So it's not even that it's just petty. To me, it's like I can understand why some characters would put an importance on that idea. Not just that not that it's petty necessarily, but Walter doesn't seem like the type of person that would put that level of importance. Like, in this situation, Walter is basically being written as the Vegeta, and it's like, no. Walter, to me, is kind of like a Piccolo, if you will. If anyone doesn't really know much about Dragon Ball Z, Piccolo is a character who, went up one-on-one against Goku. Technically his dad did, but shush, let's not talk about that. But he went one-on-one against against Goku for a while, or for a bit, but then realized, you know what, he was his rival, like, ooh, I'm going to try to get stronger and fight you. But then eventually it was like, you know what, we have greater things to fight, let's work together. While Vegeta has also done that to a certain extent, another character who appeared that's basically Goku's rival, there's still this level, even now in Dragon Ball Super, years later, there's still this idea that it's like, but I could surpass you, though, where Piccolo's like, look, I fucking get it, all right? I'm a babysitter.
Oh, God.
But still, you see where I'm coming from. Like, this idea that, like, with Vegeta, there's still this heated rivalry there. And I think that I would argue Anderson could have been put into that position and kind of was, understandably, especially because they're in different factions. They both want to – well, Alucard doesn't care, but at the very least, Anderson cares about the Catholic Church ruling, the entire world, et cetera, et cetera. But when you have a situation where now that Anderson had been dealt with, and to me with haste, like it was not done super well. Like I'm happy that they introduced story plot lines with it, but it didn't seem like it was this fight. It just kind of felt like it was this blink or you'll miss it annihilation.
Yeah, in a way. I mean,
and then
Sarah had to step in and save Alucard from, Anderson's last attack, but then after that, he just kind of one-shots him.
Yeah, which is just like, then why did he even have to, like, I don't know, it was just frustrating. Because usually, here's the thing, right? When I look at Alucard, I think of Alucard the same way that I think of the Doctor from Doctor Who, which is a weird statement, but hear me out. I think I've talked to you about this before, Tristan. No, I think of them both in the same way. The show was called Doctor Who.
Every time he goes out for a walk, someone ends up dead?
No, yes. The show is called Doctor Who. Guess who's not going to fucking die?
Yeah.
The Doctor.
I mean.
No, I know. I know you're gonna laugh about that, but like seriously though, guess who's not gonna die?
Yeah.
You know?
On an episode to episode basis.
Yeah. No, you're not gonna. When I say it, I mean more so that like you're not gonna have a situation where it's gonna be like, all right, the Doctor's gone. I guess the companion takes over the show. What? No.
Right, yeah.
No, that's not gonna happen.
Companion.
Dr. Companion. Companion who? Who is the companion next time? Wait, what? So yeah, you're not gonna have.
Companion has to replace the previous companion every time.
Yeah, exactly. But seriously though, you don't have that happen because what you do though is you watch Doctor Who thinking, how is the Doctor going to get out of it this time?
Right.
Right? Like no matter what, in any episode of like, even though her name isn't in the actual title of the series, you and I, for some reason, we now have this fascination, probably due to a channel called Pushing Up Roses, with Murder, She Wrote. Right? I say this, Tristan, because at no point, even maybe during some more, intense episodes, no one's ever like, oh no, Angela Lansbury, watch out. Like, no, she's fine. It's everyone else that's getting murdered, and she is writing about it. But you're going to see how she discovers what's going on there. You look at Doctor Who. How is the Doctor going to get out of this one? We know he is, but how? In this case, it's how is Alucard not even going to get out of it, but how is he going to fight his way out of it? I want to see that fight because it's definitely going to be cool. Oh, it's a one-shot. All right, fuck me. Never mind. So that's my take on it, where I thought, to me, this series started off as a series with, we even had a friend once who said, mutual friend who said, this was in high school, who was like, yeah, I don't really like Hellsing because it felt like he's too overpowered. And then that's when I said, yes, but I want to see him get out of it. How? Right. How interesting is that going to look? I mean, dude, fucking Cerberus, essentially, his hand popping out of the fucking dog's mouth and shooting one of those brothers, the Yang brothers. I was like, oh, fuck, this is so cool. So I want to see what other weird shit he can do. And that's why when he summoned all the ghouls, and this wasn't in these two, but still when he did that, I was like, this is really interesting. This is so cool that this is how he's getting out of this. So in this case, he's stuck in his own memories, which, dear God, we'll talk about that in a second. Holy fuck. He's stuck in his own memories. He gets out of them, and it's just like, no, but his were a lot worse.
Definitely worse.
And so he's in his own head. He gets out of it, and he's like, JK, and just annihilates him. And it's like, are we really? That's that quickly? All right.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with that. I did like the conversation they had between each other afterwards, though.
Yeah.
Like, basically, Anderson going to him like, ha, beat you to it. What are you talking about? You know exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, fuck you.
And it's also
right,
Anderson, like his,
right.
Yeah, and Anderson's eyes kind of like disappear, so he's just seeing the orphanage that he worked at. He's seeing Maxwell, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
That was sad. I cried. Yeah. So that was I'll look at that like that because it was weird because there were certain deaths that I think they tried to play it off like that, and I'm like, look, like, Walter, I really do like you, but, dude, you just betrayed them, so, like, why am I so... Granted, you helped them by destroying the Doctor, I guess, but you're still kind of sitting there with the smoke, and it's like, oh, isn't this quite sad, the memories we had, and it's like, or you could have just fucking killed the Major and then looked at Alucard and been like, all right, now we're going to fight.
Right, yeah.
We have no reason to fight. You punk. Excuse me. whoa, you just walk around here like you're some kind of human. I don't know. Oh, motherfucker, it's on. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel as if it's so odd that in the end he helped them anyway, that it just felt like this was just a vehicle to, like, not that it was a vehicle, because I'm sure the author thought this from the beginning and always had the idea to do Dawn. So I don't want to say it's a vehicle to, like, either sell Dawn or it's to make them fight or to, you know, try to make a twist or something. But it just felt as if it could have been done with Walter turning on the Major sooner.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Something else. Oh, right. Talking about Alucard's memories. Interesting fact that because when I saw the memories, I thought it was another, like, oh, this is just to be edgy. Kind of like with Sarah, Police Girl's parents, Sarah's Victoria.
Yeah, Sarah.
I thought that's just trying to be edgy. Interesting fact, I Googled it. Apparently, and this is a theory, it has been disputed, it isn't, like, official, something like that could have happened to the actual Vlad Tepes.
Right.
So he, according to some discussion, was potentially sold as that to some noble people before he ended up with connections and charisma amassing his own kingdom and slaughtering everything in his path. But again, that's under not scrutiny, but it's under discussion. Like, it isn't actually, like, 100% confirmed. But I assume that's where the author Hirano took the inspiration to put that scene in, because when I first saw it, I was like, fuck is going on here? Why are we doing this right now?
Yeah.
But I did the research just to make sure that it wasn't, because at first I thought, wait a minute, hold up. Alucard obviously is based off of, you know, Vlad. So, so let me see what the hell's going on here.
Right.
Yeah. But I gotta see, like, what the fuck's going on here. So, yeah, I assume you were also confused when you first saw that. You were like, what in the fuck? You're like, I'm sitting here trying to eat some food, happy times. I don't know if you were eating.
I don't remember either.
Well, wait, do you remember? Do you remember, like, because they aired this on Adult Swim. I thought I heard that certain parts of this OVA was cut. This was the 9th one. Do you know if that was cut? I think you would have remembered if it wasn't.
It's been a long time since I saw it in Tsunami.
Right, it aired in 2014. Yeah, because in my head I'm like, Tristan would have either remembered it or blocked it out.
Like, I saw a few. I don't know if I was, like, watching it at that point where it was going through that scene. Like, I might have something later. I don't know. Okay, you're right. But either way, though, yeah, it was just something that I was like, I don't want to see this. Can we please not? And then, but, you know, again, with the research, it's like, well, it's not Hirano's fault. Like, he could have just not included it, to be fair. But it's, you know, but it's still not like it's a thing he just made up randomly. Because, again, I felt as if there were certain parts in this show after the initial TV series, you know, and first few OVAs, that really did feel like it was just made to be like, oh, edgy. Right. But it wasn't one of those moments? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say to that. Like, I really don't. Like, it's history, question mark? Right. Yeah. But how did you feel just in general, though, to get Alucard's backstory? Because personally, I feel like we didn't need it because I felt like we knew enough of it already. I mean, yeah, I like delving into it a little bit more, at least, you know, getting some of the flashes. Yeah, it wasn't terrible. Like, sans that one scene, it wasn't terrible. It's just that nothing that they showed me was something that I think I didn't know just by them discussing it over the series. Yeah. I think it was just to give you this, like, the more humanistic side of his character, which is arguably still in there, even though he's, you know, a vampiric monstrosity at this point. Yeah. There are still elements of the person that he once was. Right. And that I feel like they really wanted to get that across, even if it meant, you know, pounding the nail in a little bit more before the very
No, I get it. And again, it's not like he's the only one they did that to. They did that with the Major as well. Not in a way that I think with the Major I liked it at first because it didn't seem like it was meant to be sympathetic. It was just meant to be like, hey, he was in the war and he was shot down, and and also he was a stormtrooper, and so he was, but he was dying, and then you see that flash of him just kind of like fading out with the doctor, and it's like, oh, he did some work. That's why, even though I thought the Major looked older, when you see the flash to how young he was at the time, he doesn't look significantly older, if at all, which, of course, then leads to you revealing, hey, or being revealed, and you're like, oh, yeah, of course he's a robot. He doesn't look like he's Walter at all.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I thought he aged a bit. Like, I thought he was just like because like, I thought it was an anime thing. You know, like he's, but then when you see, the Flash, it's like he doesn't look significantly younger. He looks younger, but not significantly.
I feel like in a series like this, like age is done, like especially with like Walter, it's like age is done a little bit more, where it's a bit more apparent.
Even with Integra at the end of the show when they do this 30-year skip, where I was confused because I thought it's because of Sarah's the amazing voice actress, because we're talking about in English here, because of not Sarah's, because of Integra's amazing voice actress, she to me always sounded like she was a bit older, but I'm pretty sure she's in her 50s, like after the 30-year mark. Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure they mention it at some point. She's in her 20s. Like around the main series. It never hit me. Like, not that I'm saying that she was in her 40s, but like just her voice doesn't make her seem like, who's in her 20s? Police girl. Like, you could tell. That's what I'm just saying. Like, you could tell. Like, you hear her and you're like, police girl in her 20s. Yes. Right.
Just starting off, having a great day as a policeman. Don't think about the murders. Having a great day as a policeman.
Well,
don't think about your father, dear God.
Funny. Because, Integra went through a lot of shit as a kid, too, but, like, that also molded her into the person that she was. Like, she was always kind of going to be in a position of leadership, I feel like.
Yes.
Just, like, that's part of her character. Like, that's part of what makes her who she is. And she's a lot more serious and just, But,
no, but I hear you. I mean, I'm not saying that, to be fair, they both went through some shit.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But,
I'm just saying, like, some of the insecurities that, like, Sarah still feels when, she finally works that out. Integra had kind of gone past that stage by this point. Like, she's already
also,
set.
Yeah. If anyone heard that in the background, I'm making coffee because if I had turned into a vampiric monstrosity and just kind of let everything out of my body loose, it would only be coffee. Coffee would just rain throughout the streets of New York.
Nate.
People would be like, oh my goodness, ooh, that's nice, that's refreshing. Cup of Joe.
It would literally be, like, instead of all the blood from everybody who was destroyed, it's just, like, people's coffee cups, like mugs, on-the-go cups, makers, everything just tipping over, like people's apartments, cafes, people on the sidewalk, everyone's coffee just falls over, and the coffee turns into arrows and just goes to you.
Yes, that exactly. No, but yeah, when looking at these two OVAs, I'm not saying that they were awful, that they were terrible, and I have to be real with you, Tristan. I don't know what I expected, to be fair.
Yeah.
It was just weird, different. Also, am I wrong? But I don't think they put like a title card that said 30 years later. So you could tell that time had passed at some way, somehow. But I literally had no way to know how long until it was like, you said this 30 years ago, Saris, when is Alucard coming back? And I was sitting around like, okay, so it randomly is now whatever year it is, 2034? I don't know. Because I don't know when, because I know when the show initially came out was like 06. So it's like, is it 2036 or is it from when the OVA was released? So it's 2040 something. I don't know. I don't know anything. It just seemed like they were just trying to find a nice way to put that end scene in there where it's like, see, I give my blood to you. It's symbolic. Cool, I guess. And then they just flash to the end, and then they have the title card. By the way, the music, I feel like that was a live orchestra.
Yeah.
Like they were like not that it was like a live orchestra recorded and then put in. Like it felt like they watched the anime and just started at certain points while the animation was running, because it was just I don't know, something about it was done so well.
It is. It was performed by the Warsaw Philharmonic Orchestra. Up to the 5th installment, and then another Japanese rock group, fill in. But no, it was gorgeous. It was beautiful. Even during someone like the Majors, who like when he was dying, I was like, I don't give a shit. So I felt like the music was like too good, but it was still such good music to air. Like right when he's just like, I think it was like not closing his eyes, but like he just kind of pauses and then like it hits, and I was like, oh my god, the music is beautiful. Right.
But yeah, what was I gonna? Oh yeah, jumping back to Schrodinger for a second. Yeah, it you know it's weird. I don't hate the plan in the sense that it makes quote unquote sense to me. Like he's disappearing due to the fact that it's so many realities at once. He cannot have a physical form based on any of them. It's like his mind is non-existent. It's being lost in a sea of dead. So therefore, he disappears when trying to recollect some type of form or something. It's kind of like, you know how the Doctor, speaking of Doctor Who again, the Doctor has all these memories. Sometimes he'll make a joke or she'll make a joke, and sometimes maybe I think he or she actually does forget things, but there's so many memories in there. It would be like literally, and it's happened somewhat before, putting that mind into a human. So even though Alucard's a vampire, he never really had their minds in him necessarily. Like, yes, they could manifest themselves somewhat because their souls were lost within him. LOL, such a good hero. So their souls were lost inside Alucard. But with the Schrodinger thing going on, it's not just everything that Schrodinger could see, but out of everyone's mind, it was every possibility. So it's the idea that, like, imagine if you're getting hit with not just everything you could have eventually done in your life, and that way, you know, all those different, every single decision you've ever made is not only being played through your mind, but the souls of millions of others. So he had to so he couldn't even focus, I would argue. Like, it's just like you can't even focus on having a physical form. You become nothing. But the idea is, all right, let's put whatever the fuck we have left. Take an arm, take a leg. Let's fucking put that in the coffin. Send it back to HQ. We'll put him down there. And maybe, you know, according to Sarah, she's like, oh, no, we have a link. One day he will be back. All right, whatever you say.
Right.
And then according to him, after that 30 years, he essentially destroyed all of those souls. So therefore, they were not within him. Therefore, it was literally just, quote, unquote, him.
Right, so he could finally reconstitute.
Yeah, that I think didn't make sense. The initial concept to me makes sense in a weird way, because it's like, well, if you have a character who could essentially see alternate futures or whatever, if you multiply all that, to me that makes sense. But the fact that he's like, I just killed all of them, doubly. Okay,
it's hilarious. I kind of find it the opposite way.
How can you kill a soul? It's already dead inside of him, unless he, like, expelled it. Like, what, is he pooping them out for 30 years? How do you get rid of...
Thank you for that image.
You are welcome. You're very welcome, Tristan. No, but seriously, how is he getting rid of all those souls? There's millions of them.
I mean, yes, I feel... never mind.
No.
Like he could have expelled them, yes.
I mean, I guess you could say that. You're right. No, like, expel them, just like, move, get out. Could you leave? Please, come on. Please move. I mean, none of them had squatters' rights. I'm just saying that, like, that's a million souls. I'm just saying, it's a lot of souls for him to expel versus the idea of, I cannot hold a physical form. Poof. Hell, the one soul I'm wondering how he expelled was the fucking Schrodinger's cat.
Right.
Oh God, you know what my favorite part of both OVAs is? And granted, there were some good parts. But you know what my favorite part is?
What?
Hello, ladies. Get shot in the fucking face. Nice to see you. Get shot in the fucking face. Like, we all know he's not going to die from it, but it just felt good. It just felt right. It was just, and it shows you, like, I love that, that, you know, we have Integra who, like, yes, Integra is human in all of this, but a good marksman from that family. Like, she's a
good
tough son of a gun. Yes, of course, right, of course, good swordsman. Tough son of a gun. So it's just because she's human doesn't mean that she is, like, the Yamcha or the Krillin or the Tien in this, you know? Or, like she's like, I'm human, which means that I can't technically fight these monstrosities. That's fair, but I have a gun and I have bullets in the chamber.
Right.
So it's just, oh, ladies, nice to see you. Boom.
Boom. Get the fuck out of my way. I have had one hell of a day, and I am not speaking to you.
It just felt right. It felt good. I know it went nowhere, but it was cathartic is what it was. After the whole thing,
definitely.
it's just cathartic. Oh, man.
And then following that, Saris having to fight, of course, a Nazi werewolf, because why not? I mean, I thought the spirit and everything, like his energy coming off him was really cool.
Oh, especially when he died. The was, like, really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And we got to see Pip, Bernadette.
This is what I loved. What I loved is that actually didn't seem out of place.
Yeah.
Because we had already learned that...
Yeah, he's able to hold on to his consciousness a little bit more instead of...
Well, not just him, anyone. I mean, look at what happened when Alucard expelled all of the spirits, and then one of the brothers was like, wait a minute, I'm alive? What the fuck is happening?
Yeah, that... I was so confused by that, because I'm like, you got eaten!
Yes, they all did. But they all did. No, all of them did. But their souls, especially him being a vampire...
He didn't get eaten by the fucking Cerberus dog.
I disagree.
Okay.
I'm sure the first million didn't. But man, when you get a Cerberus dog, I feel like a decent chunk of them were probably mauled by that dog.
Right.
Also, the dog is a part of it. The dog is really just a form of him.
Yeah. So they would just all go into him anyway.
Yeah. So what I'm saying about it is that it was really fun to me. I think it was wasted because I wanted to see him at least be like, hey, I don't like you, but they also sent me, like, I wanted him to work with someone. I don't know what side he'd want to be on, but I wanted there to be something there, but really he was just used as a quick fodder. Although I'm happy they got Patrick Seitz back to do the voice. They actually got the original voice actor to do the voice.
Right.
I was like, that's really cool, actually. Because, dude, we're looking at the first OVA that he was in, which I think was, like, the second one, versus this. It came out literally, like 8 years later or something like that?
Right, yeah.
No, because the gap was huge in the U.S. Like, in Japan, it was a big gap, too. Like, I remember U.S. fans were like, when are we going to get that next one? Tears. But in the U.S., it was worse.
Yeah.
Like, I'm honestly shocked that everyone came back.
Yeah.
In general. Like, every single actor. Even though some of them did sound a bit older, or not even older, just like a bit like someone like the Major. I was like, ooh, I love his voice actor, but it seems like you've forgotten a little bit of what to. I think it was in the 9th OVA. I was like, it's been a while.
Right.
Even Walter's voice actor, the older Walter, before he de-aged, it was kind of like, ooh, it's been a while.
Because that made sense too. I'm not even gonna try and pick that one apart.
What do you mean? Well, no, they gave him some kind of Nazi serum or something to de-age
I know,
him.
it was because of it was supposed to be part of the idea that he had the vampire powers, but that was like the drawback.
Yeah. What's interesting too is when I guess
honestly it's supposed to be thematic as well, saying that kind of like his mindset hasn't changed since that time, in a way.
Yes. Yeah. No. He legitimately was de-aging. I thought. Another thing too that matters. Yes, it is. Yes, but what matters is the voice actors who did his voice. I was worried. I was like, oh, did they do a thing kind of like with Cell in the U.S. or even with some of the fusions in DBZ where like they did some changes in the voices that never actually occurred in the Japanese version. So I was wondering, but then I actually looked up the characters and I realized, oh no, they actually do have a bunch of different voice actors, both in the Japanese version and of course obviously the English version as well. But what's interesting about it is that because when I heard the voice actor for Child Him, which was Jessica D. Stone, I thought she sounded a bit too much like a woman. Because sometimes when you have voice actors who are women who are doing male roles, young males, like young little kids, usually they'll do something different. But sometimes you can hear, you're like, no, that sounds like a woman doing the role. But here's what's very funny. In this case, the Japanese version, the child voice for him was Romy Park.
Right.
Edward Elric.
Oh, jeez.
So I'm like, all right, that's fair. Sometimes Romy can sound like you could tell that it's a woman, not just a guy, or like someone doing a little boy's voice. Because I'm pretty sure Romy Park was. Am I crazy here? I gotta check this out. Now I feel like I'm. Well, let's see. She was Ken Ichijoji in Digimon Adventure 2, but I could swear she was. Oh, she's Temari in Naruto. Yeah, I'm not crazy. She was Ed in not only FMA but of course in Brotherhood as well. Oh, right, of course. She's also Hitsugaya in Bleach.
Right.
I always forget that one. But yeah, so either way, wow, I forgot that she was Temari and also in Shippuden. Is Temari in Boruto? Do you know that?
I don't know.
Wow, Tristan. And here you are, our resident Naruto fan.
Who?
Tristan,
how many
episodes have you seen of Naruto? How many episodes?
I don't know.
Like
the
one?
first half I watched a decent bunch.
Oh, okay. I actually didn't think you watched any of it.
Well, because that was back in high school, and it was on Tsunami at the time. I was still into it at that point, but.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I stopped watching it when the filler came in, Matt. But what episode, Matt? That was very early on. No, I've barely seen it because it's just too slow. But speaking of Attack on Titan, what? No, that's not a transition. Romy Park is actually Hange. In Attack on Titan, or Hanji. Which one is it? It's supposed to be Hanji? I always forget.
I can't remember.
The character or the pronunciation?
Yes.
God damn it. Hanji's the one that's just like, Hanji's the one, she's the scientist that studies the Titans.
Oh, right.
Yeah, she's the intense one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she flip-flops between intensity and wackiness.
Yes, exactly. But anywho, so yeah, talking about I was wondering what my next point was. We can still keep it on the voices of Walter because he had 3 voices. Liam O'Brien, I didn't realize, did the young adult version because it sounded like he was doing an impression of older Walter but younger. I didn't realize it was actually someone completely different. Now, I love Liam O'Brien. Not only does he do the voice of Gaara in Naruto, but he's also Lloyd in Code Geass. You remember Lloyd? Very enthusiastic scientist in the first few episodes.
Right.
Tristan, you've watched Code Geass, Tristan.
I did.
Good. You sound like you don't remember Lloyd.
Oh. No, of course I remember Lloyd.
Thank you. Also, Captain Yukitake in Bleach. And also, you might know, I don't know what voice he did in this. Let me actually go find it before I drop some knowledge. Either way, did you like the voices of Walter? Did you think that was, or do you think maybe they could have done something a little bit different? Like what do you think about the voice actors? Because I thought it was a fun,
yeah, I thought they were fine.
Okay, so Liam O'Brien was in Star Wars Rebels. He is Supply Master Yogar Leist. Also, he's Morad Sumar or Summer.
Huh.
Literally Morad Sumar. Oh, okay.
Right.
I don't know if that just
they're minor characters, so I'm trying to think where did I hear that?
I remember this, but unsure where. Holy shit, he's in Ultraman, the new anime for the one that came on Netflix. Wow, oh shit. Well, I gotta check that out. Fuckity fuck. All right. Anyway, sorry, just confused the hell out of me because it's his latest role. Well, it's just his latest role, so I'm like, oh my god, he's in Ultraman. Anyway, yeah. So I think I did mention that it did seem like some people were coming back to it after a while, but it wasn't bad. It is just always weird to hear Crispin Freeman do whatever accent he's trying to do for Alucard, like when he's his Tempest form. It's just always a little odd. But it's not. I don't think it's bad. It's just weird because you could tell he's putting on an accent.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying I can do one better. I'm just saying it's weird.
Right.
But, yeah, right. I was supposed to initially, before even voiceover work, I wanted to check what the gap was. I think we might have talked about this last time, so sorry if we talked about it last week, guys. It's been a bit since we recorded that one. Yeah, when the brothers first appeared, at least the brothers in the Ultimate OVAs, that was in OVA number 2. Yeah, Jan and Luke, the Valentine brothers. I don't know why I call them the Young brothers. The Valentine brothers. So they appeared in, remember this, Tristan, 2006 in Japan, or 2007 in the U.S.
Yeah.
The 9th OVA, when he appeared, 2012 in Japan. Not sure if they kept the same voice actor in the Japanese version. And 2014.
2014. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. That's a 7-year gap. I know Seitz is still in the industry, but, my God.
Yeah.
Seitz
Funny,
also being...
Sure, when I saw that in the OVAs, I was like, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah, right? I like it. I just think it was wasted. It was too short. But I like it as a... it's a nice cameo.
Forever ago.
I know. That's why it was so fun to see briefly. Hey, it's been a while.
And then he literally gets used as a meat puppet by Walter.
That's what I hate. It was just so quick. I was like, come on.
We're just like, I'm alive. I made it out. Blah. Never mind.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm not saying he should have made it out alive, but, just it was so quick. I was like, come on, it was actually really nice to see. It was a nice little, throwback. Thinking about how long it was between both, it's like, oh, hey, look at you. Oh, God, you're dead. Well, fuck, all right. Cool, nice to see you. Speaking of voice actors, when they brought back when Walter was dying, and again, it was such a mixed scene for me because it was hard for me to be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, when it's he betrayed them. Although he did have a certain pause when Police Girl, when Saris was like, you take care, and he was like, it was kind of even after all this, oh my God, have I done the right thing? It was an interesting pause from him. I liked that.
Well, because it's he's like, maybe I did fuck up. But I can't go back now, so.
Clear. You've made it. Could you imagine? What if punch? But I was thinking punch you again. But what? I would like to come to a standstill. I will fucking eat you.
In Pegris, just like Alucard, eat him. He's like, whoa, do you not even want to hear him out? I don't mind. It's just he's been with your eat him. All right.
You're right. Alucard would be like, I don't like to swat flies. If we want to keep him alive, we can. That's Alucard. You know what? Never mind. I'll fight you. All right.
All right. Just as long as you're sure there, buddy.
Oh, my God.
Because I love how his reaction is just like, you couldn't do it then, and you certainly as hell can't do it now.
Also, I love the random side note. Well, because here's the thing, right? When he was transformed in a different body, I thought he was like transformed into a mirror of Walter, but then I realized, wait a minute, no. In the Dawn, he was actually in the body of. He was pretending. I don't know why he was pretending to do this. Maybe it was just easier to kill people this way. But he wasn't in the form that he's in now. He was actually a 12-year-old girl.
Yep.
So when I realized that, I was like, oh, that's why he's in that form, just to fuck with Walter. Like, hey, exactly. I can beat you looking like this, which is how we met. Yeah. It was just kind of funny because I thought he was mocking Walter because I will admit the art for young Walter, and I know he's supposed to be a 12-year-old boy. Apparently that's how young they met. But, like, he's supposed to be a 12-year-old boy. But, like, it was just, or not 12, but, like, I think 12 to 14. But he looked like he was, like, a girl drawn that way with certain feminine features, if you will, the same way that Alucard had with his body, like, you know, when he was looking like his initial form. It was just strange. It was all strange.
Right.
Like the art. It was just the art, really, that I was like, you two look way too similar.
Right.
Also, and I know that she's technically with the church, so there's probably all sorts of weird experiments and tests done on her too. But the fact that what's-her-name, the sniper, survived long enough to not only snipe out Walter a bit, but then walk away from it alive.
Right.
Again,
yeah.
I get it, suspension of disbelief, but I thought that Anderson was the freak in some way, even before his turn into a monster. I didn't realize that they all had similar... I mean, dude, she literally lost her arms, too.
Yeah, I don't think she was altered in any way. I think she just survived. Because technically she didn't get... Nothing vital got hit. I mean, yeah, she lost her arm, so as long as she didn't bleed out, like, she was fine.
But, I mean... That's what I thought happened. That's usually what happens. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a doctor or anything, but when you get your arm chopped off, again, suspension of disbelief, but, like, she's not a vampire. Like, I can hold the suspension for vampires, but
your body
and werewolves.
Most definitely go into shock.
Yeah. She's just like, I'm shocked that I couldn't kill you, you fuck!
Basically.
Oh, my God. Oh, I want to know if the voice actress for her had, like, cotton balls in her mouth during that entire recording.
Right, after she got stabbed through the mouth.
Yeah, but then she has to keep on, but then she has to keep on doing it, so I'm just kind of wondering, like, did she have, like, cotton balls? Did you have to be like, you mother, like, just like that? Like, how do you do it? It's kind of funny.
Right.
Because she has to, not like, you know, she has to pretend like she's eating. She has to pretend like the mouth is somewhat not there.
Yeah.
Voice acting is acting. That's so much fun to do. Like, not all the time, but, like, just in that one situation, like, it must have been really fun to be like, I have to act like my mouth has been blown off. Like, how, you can't method act there. What were you going to say, Tristan, before I took things off the rail?
I'm not sure anymore now.
Happy to hear it. So as we're talking about this, while Hellsing is going on in the background, on my television, an old episode of Looney Tunes is going on. I don't know why I haven't turned off the TV. For some reason, I haven't. So Looney Tunes is on. So there's an I don't know why. For some reason, Elmer Fudd, I guess, is fishing, and there was a giant fish that was just yelling at him and trying to save another fish. I don't know if you've ever seen this one, Tristan. This is only relevant because as the fish, this giant fish, is in the boat yelling at Elmer Fudd and pointing at him, all I heard in my head was, and it was instinctive, I don't know why, I heard, is this JoJo? And I just I don't think anything like that has happened in JoJo. I don't know why that was my first thought. Has anything like that happened in JoJo? I'm going to go with a no.
I I don't think so.
I love that you have to think about it though. But you had to think about it.
I did.
Anyway, yeah. So, another thing too. We've mentioned this countless times, but the animation for this was gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Like I do think that the cities, they look so good that sometimes I do feel like I get lost in them. Like I don't feel like it's as intimate or like the fight. Because like usually with other shows, with fighting, you have the cities in the background, but usually you focus on the fighters. But in this case, it felt like I was getting lost in the scenery a bit, even though it was great. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about the cities, the long shots. Like when we're actually like in the buildings with Integra and with Ceres, that's fine.
Right.
Oh, you mentioned Pip before. I want to talk more about Pip. So happy to see him back, and I hope in a way he really is always with her. Like she can summon him the same way that Alucard has done to other unholy beings within him. Like I hope she can do it in a cool way. Like it's just like, especially because she was really down on her luck there. Like she really needed that, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, seriously? Come on now."
Yeah, you've got everything you need. What are you doing?
Yeah, it felt like a nice way to bring "quote unquote" everyone back, just to have a nice little cameo before everything's wrapped up.
Right. Yeah, I was glad that he came back too.
Yeah. So I enjoyed that. Especially, again, it's just, pep talk, and also feels like he's going to be with her. In a way, he helped her because he removed the heart, but again, it's really he's a part of her, so really she did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, it's his mind, but technically he's a part of her.
Right.
So that was nice. Yeah, I don't know what else to really say other than jumping back to the idea that I think it was just not what I expected. But in this case, in a bad way, because like I don't always like to say, "Oh, it's not what I expected, so it was bad." But in this case, I think it was just not what I expected, and it wasn't. Again, I wish I could say what I would do differently, because sometimes I do that, even though I know it's armchair, but it's still something that I will do. If I'm like, "Oh, what would have been really cool," but like I admit, like I don't know where else it could have gone, I guess. But it's just the general premise as we're learning about the reasons and the planning behind it and everything. To me, it just kind of falls. Maybe, I don't know if it's flat, but it just kind of falls a bit. Like, it doesn't really hold together as well as I would have liked, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard sometimes to piece everything together for an ending.
Yeah. I think also maybe it's the fact that it's not just us waiting so long, but I think it's also just like taking so long. Both, I believe the artist / writer also had delays similar to the person behind Black Lagoon. So I think delays will also hurt you as well. Like, it hurts to have to wait that long. And then, of course, you and I, not just you and I waiting, but as we just mentioned, the OVAs took a while to come out. So, I think maybe if you marathon it, it might be a little bit better, but I think kind of adding on that, and it's not really the writer's fault, but adding on this idea of like, we're waiting to get the end. Let's see what the end's going to be, and maybe there's a bit more hype drummed up for it than really is supposed to. Like, this could have, like, I think if this had been released as a TV series, maybe it would have gotten a good 2, maybe 3 seasons. Everyone would have gone, oh, that was interesting, and then I don't know if it would still be talked about, but I think because of the fact that it was spanned across not just a TV series and the OVAs, but again, the OVAs taking, 7 or more years to come out, switching between Geneon USA or Geneon? I'm going to go with Geneon USA, and then them closing down and Funimation acquiring all of their licenses, and then Funimation not just, getting all the voice actors together, but also having to localize it all and all that stuff and taking on that workload and then still releasing the initial OVAs, all of that also, helped cause that delay. So it's just that many years added onto it. I just feel like it's an ending that could seem adequate to some. But again, adding all that stress on top of it, maybe that's what lowers it down to me. Maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Because it doesn't seem like this is just some short, like, oh, it's just a 10-episode OVA, it's fine. Like, no, it just seems like it's culminating of, like, so many other things, of so many years. I mean, you know, I knew about Hellsing in high school, so this is really me finishing it for real. I didn't watch, even though I have them on my DVR, I tried not to watch them because I was like, you know what, let me actually save this big moment for when we're talking about it, because I knew we were going to talk about it on the podcast eventually. I just didn't know when. Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry, in the background, the episode's playing. So, literally, I'm saying, like, it culminated into this, oh, my God, that boy just ripped off his own head. Oh, my God.
And then he culminated into the main character, and then shit hit the fan.
Yeah. But yeah, so you see where, you see where I'm coming from. So, yeah, it's just not as, I don't know. It feels like,
it's funny. I guess in a way it's, I don't know, for me personally, maybe it's just that I've watched so much shonen, I'm used to having a giant fist fight well, maybe not fist fight specifically, but a big fight at the end.
Yes.
And for something like this, it's like, you know, Alucard is so broken, like his powers are so broken that it's kind of like, yeah, you can't have a big fist fight with him at the end because he wins.
But I think that was something that could have been addressed when you have someone like Anderson being like, "But I'm a monster," and then you have, that's not really his accent, but still he's like, "I'm a monster now, girl."
Yeah, I like the idea that, you know, it's, even Alucard says it has to be a human who kills me, you know.
Yes.
It has to be someone who hasn't thrown away all their ideals and their humanity and everything else that makes them them, to kill me, to destroy what I am, what I symbolize.
Yeah, I think, I just think it's that, look, I understand that to kill him, it had to be some crazy convoluted plan. But to beat him down, it seemed like, other than the Anderson thing, briefly before that was just taken down, there was really nothing standing in his way, and that to me, I think, it just gets weird, especially when we've had
down for a bit,
yes, and we've had fights
at that point,
before that.
He expended all of the souls that are, you know, outside of him. Like the Major said, it's like all his other defenses are down. It is literally him in front of you.
So. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I understand that this wouldn't end in a bunch of, like, you know, in fisticuffs and, you know, and like, like, this isn't JoJo, this isn't Dragon Ball Z, this isn't Yu Yu Hakusho. But it also isn't, I'm thinking of a romance one. It isn't a romance one. No, but all jokes aside, what I'm getting at here is even like, comedy slices of life shows have had more fighting than I think this end had, where you were expecting something grand. I mean, you have the Major discussing things in a very grand way, and it seemed like because you know what it is too, like, I'm not saying the Major isn't a tactician, but he talks about war, and granted, yes, this is a strategy in war. War isn't just, you know, shooting things or blowing up stuff with tanks or anything. War is being in the war room, looking up battle plans, seeing what the best plan of attack is, but it also felt like a very odd way of doing it when, you know, he's talking about, like, I mean, especially how he revels in the destruction earlier in OVAs. It then turned into, but what I did was I waited till he was like, it kind of felt like a Travis thing. It's like, wait till you're on the toilet, then try to stab him. It's like, Travis touchdown. So it feels like it's kind of like this.
Well,
it's like, but I don't know.
I mean, everybody else got to go out in the destruction, which is ultimately what they wanted too.
Which is another thing too. Like, I get it because they're Nazis and they're terrible. But it really
that's the thing too. I feel like it feels odd because they had absolutely nothing to lose, basically, in the end.
Yes, which is very hard to do with villains and have that work and have it feel not good. Although, to be fair, it always feels good when a Nazi, you know, in media is getting killed in that way. You're like, oh, thank goodness. Like, it just, like, you don't watch Indiana Jones because you're like, man, I want that archaeologist to get what's for. Like, no, you want him to punch the Nazi. But
and that's why I was happy, you know, Integra does the deed at the end. And Integra gets it. Yeah.
Yes.
Although, I mean, Saris helped too, but.
Well, I mean, she shot the missile through, and then Saris is like, you know what, I mean, then of course, Integra's like, fuck this.
Right.
But anyway.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm
anyway.
glad Saris got that fight too.
Yes. I did enjoy that too, because again we have to see, because like another thing too, I think I liked that she got it, and also I love that they're working together for those 30 years afterwards. But one thing that I do find odd about the show overall, though, is that I felt as if, and maybe this is my fault because, I watched the TV series first, so they were giving off a different impression, but I feel like even though the show is partially about, police girl kind of becoming a vampire, coming into herself, who she is as a person, that is there, but it definitely seems like Alucard is really the focus because he's the one who could fight everything and destroy everything, et cetera, et cetera. So I guess you could argue this is somewhat of an ensemble cast, but it just did feel odd where you have a situation where Alucard dies. Because, yes, this isn't a Goku thing, this isn't a JoJo thing, but it just felt odd where even something like Yu Yu Hakusho, even though obviously Yusuke is the main character, it does feel like a good ensemble cast, but it would feel odd if Yusuke died and they were like, let's keep going. It's like, wait a minute, pause the fucking, and I know it's kind of funny saying that out loud, thinking of the first episode, but I mean after that one, it would seem odd. Yeah, no, but it would seem odd. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird even with an ensemble cast. I know Game of Thrones has done it, many shows have done it, but usually with those there's a better balance. I feel like this one, at least with the OVAs, maybe the manga's better, but in the OVAs there wasn't really the best balance between the three of them to know whose story is it really, or is it really all three of their stories. I think the TV show was interesting. It kind of, even though, again, it felt like it was more focused on Alucard in some respects, or you were supposed to focus on Alucard because it's like, yay, fights. But in this case, I think, I don't know, do you think it was a good ensemble cast? Like, when Alucard died, you could just see the show going, not continuing into a sequel, but, like, going on? Because for me, it was like, wait, he died at the 30-minute mark. We have another 30 minutes left, really?
Yeah.
To me, that felt weird.
I feel like this was their, not that a new threat wouldn't ever arise to take this, to take that slot, but like I feel like whatever came, like Saris would be enough to take on whatever came next, because Integra is still leading the organization, so they still have.
I don't mean in
leader.
story. I mean in general. Do you think it was a good ensemble cast? Like, with Alucard dying, does it feel like it's the main character has been lost, or does it feel like the show is like, no, we're good?
In a way, yeah, but I feel like Saris could have stepped up to that role.
Yeah. It kind of feels like a Gohan Goku situation. They were trying, but I don't know if they did that well with it, a bit like with Gohan.
Right. Well, because I feel like Saris is more the idea of, yes, technically she's become this monster, but she hasn't lost herself to it, and that's supposed to be the foil. Like, Alucard lost himself to becoming the monster.
Right.
And that's his whole, I mean, you learn later on, it's like, not gonna lie, kind of regret that.
Yes.
Gonna be real with you guys, it's not all candy and rainbows in here.
I mean, we pretty much knew that much, Master. I mean, I think we got that bit. Wait, what was the first?
Right, fine.
No,
don't let me talk about my feelings then.
What was the first thing that tipped you off? You just see the fucking, you see the fucking dog head. All right, maybe that. But other than that, what was the next thing? The souls.
All right, now,
okay.
Now you're
other
getting ahead of yourself.
Than those 2 million people, what else made you think that things weren't going so hot in here? No, nothing, Master. Everything's fine. Good. But, oh my
here's
God.
One that's really funny. The fact that it only took 30 years to rebuild London.
Thank you. That's another good one.
Although, granted, I guess technically 30 years is a decent amount of time. And if there was a huge effort to be like, let's rebuild London.
You'd have to get the whole world in it, I think, not just the UK.
Well,
that's a lot.
They sort of say that the world kind of came together to help.
Okay. Because, everyone in that city was dead. And not Alucard dead. Like, they're dead.
Yeah.
So that's another thing, too, to think about. Like, ooh, that's dead. That's pretty dead. But, no, I only say that because, you're right. 30 years is actually pretty good because at first I was like, come on. But like 30 years, you're right. That does make sense. But it's still, it's a bit different than like some other movies, not even superhero ones because at least they have superheroes, but like other movies where you're like, really? It's only been like 5 years, 8 years? Are we really okay? I don't think we'd be okay after what just happened. I think that things are still pretty, fucking crazy here. But no, I'll give that to you. It does, 30 years isn't that long. But it is just odd to me to think that, Integra was still in her 20s and then she's in her 50s. And she even said, like, yeah, so if I die, this is all done. And I'm like, I feel like that was a small oversight. Could you not have found some way? I'm just saying.
Right.
You seemed like, no, because she seemed like weird about it. Like, oh, no, I just... where was the time? It's just been 30 years. Like I don't know. It's not like that, but like it seemed like it's kind of like you've had 30 years, Integra. Are you bemoaning this? Are you lamenting this now?
Yeah, I mean, I guess in the sense of just trying to find someone as a suitable replacement, she probably feels like nobody could,
Well,
do the job.
No, you misunderstand. It's supposed to be within the family. So what I'm trying to say is, have you not found someone strong enough, or at least someone to carry, or someone to carry, like, I don't even mean carry it on, like, outside the family. Like, just, I don't know. You're right, though. No one could be a replacement, like, outside of the family. But if it's like, you need our blood, it's like, I don't remember the show saying that she cannot have children. Not that she would even carry the child, but that, like, some part of her can be, I don't know. Like, maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would feel at the least she'd, adopt somebody into the family and be like, oh, God, could you imagine Integra walking into an adoption agency and just, let me see your children? What, okay, ma'am.
Masa, you can't. Oh, and what is that? Masa, you can't just talk to people that way.
She just, like, all the children are, like, terrified, and one of them just, like, walks up to Saris, like, like, oh, she's pretty. That one. I want that one.
My God.
Like, no fear in the child's eyes, nothing. Just walks up to him. How are you? This one. We'll take this one.
I love the phrase, we'll take this one. I feel like Police Girl just has to glamour her way through it. Just, you didn't see anything.
Yeah.
And then just take the kid.
She's really enthusiastic about children. I
literally
don't think this is legal. Sir,
no,
ma'am, you haven't signed any of the documentation.
But again, no glamour. It's just you didn't see any of this.
Oh right. Oh God, right. She can do that.
Yeah, she's a vampire. Yes.
Right,
well, to be fair, I don't know if that's her skill. I know like certain vampires have other skills, but like she could glamour her. Yes.
Oh God, could you imagine? She's like trying to do it like just like a Jedi mind trick. She's like, Master never really taught me this one before he left, so I'm kind of new at it. But all right, I'll give it a shot.
The woman's head explodes. I need to work on that.
We need to get out of here.
Woo!
Integra,
we need to get out of here.
Integra goes to turn. What was that sound? Nothing.
Oh my God.
Whatever you do not turn around.
So anything you want to say before we wrap this one up, our last Hellsing podcast for what I assume is the foreseeable future?
Yeah. No, I guess that's about it.
All right.
I definitely enjoyed the ride. Like, I do enjoy the series.
Yes. No, yes. I would recommend this to people. I just would tell them, I tell them two things. One, I'd be like, hey, Nazis are in this. Because I think we have some friends that even though the Nazis are beaten down, maybe they'd still be like, I don't know if I want to watch a show with Nazis in it. So I'd be like, all right, look, Nazis are in this. But, I mean, if you watch Indiana Jones, you could watch this.
Yeah.
You know? It's a bit different than, like, as much as I love JoJo, it got a little weird at certain parts where, like, it'd be hard for me to be like, you should watch this. But, you know, because, like, not like part two a little bit. There's a little bit that I think that's weird with part two. But I don't think it suffers from that same issues as this does, where, rather reverse, where, like, the Nazis, like, it's not like okay, so Walter was a traitor, but he wasn't a Nazi. Like, it's awful that he worked with them, but he isn't like someone who reveled in it the way that the Major does.
No, he was not part of the ideology. He was just in it too. It was a means to an end.
And it's wrong, still, obviously. But it's not like, but it's a bit different than, like, some stuff that happened in Part 2 where it was just a little weird, which I don't want to get into because we talked about that when we talked about Part 2, so you can listen to us talk about that there. But in this case, I feel like I could recommend someone, but I still want to warn them. Like, by the way, like, if Nazis are a problem, they do appear. But I would recommend to someone, I would suggest that you guys do, as long as they also understand. You tell them it's going to be a ride. Like, have your suspension of disbelief goggles on, because things are going to get cray, right? So if someone's just like, because I do think that even, initially someone could be like, this vampire stuff, or even like some of the blood too. Of course, that's another thing to tell someone too. If they're not into, if they're a little bit squeamish, I don't know if you want to show them Hellsing.
Like gore? No. Oh.
Are you okay with gore? To a certain extent. Damn it, I had to say to a certain extent. Never mind, just keep on moving. Just keep going. Because if someone says, I'm okay with gore, because I have a few friends that don't like gore in live action, but they're okay with anime gore. So it's like, oh, yeah, then watch Hellsing. But no, I think that it's good. I just feel like, at least with these OVAs, it does definitely seem like something's rushed. But again, there's no other option. There's no other solution, because if you go with the TV series, you're left with this really weird gap. Maybe read the manga. I haven't read all of the manga. I thought it was interesting from what I've read. Not the biggest fan of some of the artwork, but I don't hate it. I'm just not the biggest fan of some of it. I would like to read The Dawn, but I don't believe it's out in the U.S. legally, like officially, so can't read The Dawn. And even then, I think The Dawn was stalled. It's only on 3 volumes, and it's still, quote-unquote, listed as ongoing, like Black Lagoon. So good luck there. Yeah. So you've said your piece. I've said mine. I want to thank you all so much for listening in, as always. Another episode of Anna Saturday during Halloween in July. Tune in next week for something literally completely different. It will be nothing like this. I'm thinking, I don't know if we haven't recorded what it will be yet, but it will be nothing like this, most likely. Most likely. But either way, no, it's going to be, because I'm thinking of what we've recorded already. But I don't think we've recorded so it could be something that's also a gory anime. So I'm like, wait, no, maybe not completely different, okay? But it's different. Anyway, so yeah, love you all, take care, and tune in next time when we do another episode of Anna Saturdays, or even maybe something else sooner. If you're wondering what, when, how, why we do it, what's going on, well, you can check out all of our different social media accounts, like our Facebook, facebook.com/thoseguysontheradio, our Twitter, which is @thoseguysradio, and our website, which is tgproduction.net. And depending on which one you check out, you could actually see all of our shows, not only that we're doing now and in the future, but that we've done in the past. We've done a lot of different shows. Speaking of those, I almost forgot to mention, you can find our shows, download them on iTunes, search up Those Guys on iTunes to find us there. Tristan?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought I heard static. I was like, am I going to die? The Ring? We've done The Ring. Am I going to die? That's always a constant thought. Am I good? Is everything good? What's going on with that chick from The Ring? Everything fine? We good? She died again, I think?
We'll
I don't know.
Just give you a little serum.
I'll be great. I'll be fine.
And a few thousand souls.
I'll be good.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. So anyway, but seriously though, so we those are the different ways you can find our shows, as well as some of our stuff that we do on our Those Guys Play channel. Started off doing Let's Plays. I've also done reviews and a bunch of other stuff there as well, video game related, and stuff on our TG Productions YouTube channel as well, which we do stuff that is in the pro wrestling sphere, along with anime and tokusatsu, Japanese superhero stuff, and all of that stuff. So thank you all so much. Again, remember, Those Guys Play, TG Productions, Those Guys on the Radio, which is what you're listening to right now, hopefully through our Blog Talk Radio account, blogtalkradio.com/Those Guys on the Radio, or through our YouTube channel, Those Guys on the Radio. So, yeah, stay spooky, everybody. Say goodnight, Tristan.
Boo. Ah, damn it.
What?
No.
Did you just boo me?
No, not you.
Oh, thank goodness. I would have been hurt, extremely hurt. I wouldn't have.
Sorry.
I would have been very hurt.
It's the ghouls escaping. It happens now and again. I mean nothing.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.